Hello and welcome to the Imagine AI Live podcast. I'm your host, Chêrénique, and we are here in New York City at our first Impact event. I have a very special guest with me right now. She was one of our opening speakers this morning, and now she's sitting down to talk with us. Hello, Elatia.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. So can you introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about what you are working on?
Sure. Well, I'm Elatia Abate. I'm a futurist, and it is my job to go out to the edge of disruption, understand the transformative dynamics that are happening, and translate them into tools and strategies and frameworks that we can use to create results today. And specifically in the space of AI, I'm up to the business of helping enterprise organizations, growth stage startups, and others make sense of the disruption and the opportunity that AI is presenting us with.
Yeah, wow. So can you expand on that a little bit for us? Like, how do you do that? What does that entail? What have you been doing to get to the point that you're at?
Sure. So on the ground, that looks like leadership development and training. I believe fundamentally that AI logic, assembly line logic does not apply in the AI landscape. And so many of us, if we've had any formal leadership training at all, are doing things that were done back in the day of Henry Ford. And the world is inviting us, it's asking us to do something else. And so it's helping organizations and the people who run them upgrade, transform, evolve their leadership through training and development. It's consulting on how companies can shift their strategy to work and flow with the age of AI, and a lot of keynote speaking to help people make sense of the changes that are happening and not be afraid of them.
Yes, absolutely. So there were a couple parts from what you delivered for us earlier today that I wanted to revisit so that our audience in the podcast could experience it as well.
Great.
Specifically, the exercise you walked us through to connect our mind and heart.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and walk us through that?
Yes, absolutely. So when we think about facing all the big changes that are happening in the world, why is it that we get so frustrated, or many of us are on edge most of the time? It's because our brains were developed linearly and locally. And as it stands, we can only consciously process a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of the information that's coming in. And as AI and other technologies are helping create more information in the world, the overwhelm is enormous. And so in the face of that, it's critically important to move business beyond a solely intellectual exercise into what I call business beyond the brain. It's leading with the entirety of our bodies. It's learning how to connect brain, heart, and gut in this sense, and helping us not just react to or get bowled over by the big changes that are happening, but truly find our center and thrive.
Yeah.
And so this brain-heart coherence, there's a wonderful institute called the Heart Math Institute who does a lot of research on how much more effective we can become, how much more centered we can become when we connect our brain and heart. And essentially, all you need is 120 to 360 seconds. And imagine a connection, you can call it like a golden thread if you want to visualize something between your brain and your heart. You just inhale and exhale, and then imagine something you're grateful for. And in just that short period of time, you've relaxed, you've brought yourself to a place where if you were in fear, if you were anxious before, you're now able to see the opportunities for what they are, see challenges for what they are, and more effectively make decisions.
Amazing. Yeah. I love how you outline the benefit of what that can do for us too, because like you said, it helps us make decisions, and we're just faced with so many decisions constantly all the time. And people are overwhelmed by all the technology that's available. You had a visual in your slides that you presented that was kind of like a tornado, and there was a center of that. Can you explain that again for us?
Sure. So the idea in embodying leadership is becoming the ever-evolving eye of the storm, because the size, scope, and scale of the disruption that's happening in the world right now and is going to continue to increase is so great that returning to stasis or going back to a normal or being able to predict is it's going to be outside of our reach. And so understanding that we become the calm and the norm and the space, and learning how to shut out all that noise and chaos around us will allow us to lead.
Yeah, the eye of the storm, I think, is what you had said earlier.
The ever-evolving
eye
of the storm.
Yeah, amazing, beautiful. So we're here at the Cornell Tech campus. So that brings up some questions about education. What do you think about what students can do to incorporate the AI and the technology into the current landscape of education, or how does that need to change?
Yes. So I think first and foremost, every student should get as familiar as they possibly can with as many of the AI tools as possible. And instead of asking questions like, why is this going to, or what is this going to destroy in my life? What opportunities will I not have when I'm graduating from school? It's about, for example, you can use ChatGPT for this, or any pick your favorite model, but you can say, someone with my skills, with my interests, and with my curiosity in the world, what are 3 to 5 jobs or 3 to 5 industries that I should be looking at in order to chart a professional path, for example. So you can use it to create professional fulfillment. You can use it to help yourself solve the blank page problem. Right? So often when we're writing papers or when we're beginning to do research, we don't even know where to start. But you can ask ChatGPT, what are 5 things, what are 3 things that I should explore in this? Because I don't even know where to begin. And there you go, you're off to the races. So you can help it, you can utilize it to help you support your education. You can utilize it to help you shift and shape your career. You can utilize it as a journal or as a self-development tool. I know some folks were working on these things. So it is a limitless set of possibilities.
Yeah. And then just building on that a little bit, what would you say to those that are already in the workforce or who are about to join the workforce about how they should adapt to this new technology?
So I think first and foremost, the game is going to be disruption. And so anyone who is walking into a career or into a segment of an industry thinking that it is always going to be that way forever and all the days, I have news, it's not. And so being ready to and willing to adapt what it is that you're doing and creating to new circumstances becomes critically important. And this is why taking a few steps back and having clarity of purpose in your career, what do I want to create? What kind of impact do I want to have, and how do I want to use my life? These 3 questions can help you not only navigate the working space, but also define the things that you value. Because when you know what you value, then AI or not AI, or however disruptive or enabling it may become, empowering it may become is actually the much better word for that. You can make career choices rooted in the things that you value the most.
Yeah. So that's something that doesn't change no matter what technology is around us, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think back to the pandemic, right? So why is this important to do? Why is this degree of adaptability critically important? In the pandemic, when everything shut down at the beginning, hospitality, restaurant workers, if your only ability, if your only skill was hospitality, and so this is the only industry that I can work in, then the rest of the world is shut down too. You don't have opportunities. But if you know that you're in hospitality because you value interaction and you enjoy creating wonderful experiences for other people and you love the human connection, you can then begin to look for careers that are rooted in those similar sorts of things, even if they're in industries that you never would have considered before.
Yeah. Do you have any fears or concerns when you look forward to the progression of AI?
I have a list of concerns. I don't know that I would use the word fear, but I have a list of concerns and I have a stand for an optimistic outcome. Because yes, there are risks to privacy. There are risks to, one of the things that I talk about and spoke about on stage earlier this morning is asking folks, are you observers, are you users, or are you creators of artificial intelligence? Because everyone currently is falling somewhere on that spectrum. Some people are still on the sidelines, some people are actively using it, and some people own companies or are programmers. But the fact of the matter is that by our presence or our absence, we are all creators of artificial intelligence. And so our voices must be included if we want to be included in a co-created future with this technology. And so that, for me, is the most concerning risk as we look at technological development and whether we're going to realize the promise of artificial intelligence and other technologies, which is that we can truly create a better world for everybody, or we're going to go down a path that's going to create a much more challenging scenario. Of course, data privacy, protections, all of these kinds of things are important, but that's what I would focus on most critically.
Yeah. On the flip side of that then, what are your hopes and And what do you hope that AI can do
Yeah.
in the future?
I believe that artificial intelligence is a human empowerment accelerator. And in the past, we were taught that these kinds of big technologies would either enable our jobs or replace our jobs. So either you're great or you're toast. And in this particular case, essentially what we're looking at is a whole spectrum of growth and development. Yes, some jobs will be replaced. This is true. However, many more jobs will be enabled. They'll be augmented and expanded. They'll allow human creativity to move beyond where it sits today. They'll be created. One of the stats that I shared is back in 2022 on Glassdoor, there were only 19 jobs with the title of Chief AI Officer. Today, just 2 years later, there's over 400. And this is one job title, not even industry shifts and all of this. And then as a human empowerment accelerator, we no longer need to do mundane things, and we can be unleashed in terms of our human creativity. And AI together with robotics is going to start solving some of the major safety challenges in work. And so we don't need to put ourselves at risk the same way that we used to. So I think the future is very bright with AI if we, inside this Imagine AI community and as evangelists for the technology and its positive possibilities, band together in order to create that future.
Yeah, amazing. So how do you personally implement AI, whether it's in your projects with work or personal projects? How does that look?
Yes, it's a daily practice for me, and it ranges from creating images for my presentations to problem solving for work and for clients, to developing scripts for uncomfortable conversations with noisy neighbors.
Yes, yes.
So it really runs the gamut. And I really don't know what I would do without it, because it's such an added bonus to my day-to-day.
Yeah. So how did you get introduced to the Imagine AI Live community here?
I got introduced to the Imagine AI community through a couple of friends of mine who I know who are co-founders in the AI space. And they said, given what you do in the enterprise space with AI and with disruption with technology, you need to know this community.
Yeah.
So I joined as a VIP guest in Las Vegas, had a wonderful time at the conference, and both from the content that was coming from the stages, but also and especially from the folks in the room.
Yeah.
It's such a strong, intelligent, curious, connected, and committed group of people that I needed to come back.
Well, we're glad you did.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
So I know that whenever you do a presentation, there's obviously material you had to cut out, time doesn't allow. Is there anything that you didn't get to share in your talk today that you would want to share with our listeners?
This really is the most exciting time that humanity has ever had in our living lifetimes, maybe in recorded history. And we have an opportunity right now to create an incredibly compelling future. And so what I didn't share is that this really is the most exciting time, and there's more opportunity hidden inside of this than ever before if we're simply willing to look in a slightly different way.
Awesome. So I have one last question, and then we'll wrap up so you can get back to the activities of the event today.
Wonderful.
So if there is a listener out there that's contemplating coming to our next Imagine AI Live event, what would you say to them?
Yeah, come. Buy the ticket, put it on your calendar, get yourself on a pre-sale list. I have learned more across the two events and connected with more people who I'm now building projects in the world with. Then it's such high value for your money. And if you are interested in and are going to be impacted by AI in any way, which is only all of us, I highly recommend that you come.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sitting down to talk with me today and for being here, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Imagine.